Hey guys, welcome back to Hacks and Hobbies live stream. I'm super excited to be here today. I've got some amazing guests, spotlight, and I've got questions for them as well. Our very first guest here is Rhonda Parker, and I totally forgot to switch. Let me switch that. This is going to be a lot of fun, guys. We've got all sorts of fun stuff. So we've got here Rob Tracz. Rob, thank you so much for coming on. You've wow. I'm so speaking of clarity or purpose, next guest Rob Tracz empowers high performers to escape robot mode and cultivate intentional sustainable success. Rob, what key habits or mindsets do you see as essential for leaders to clearly define and sustainably achieve their vision?
Yeah, I think the one of the most important habits or strategies that leaders and pretty much any driven individual can develop and continue to work on is going to be awareness. Having the sense of awareness and being able to look at different perspectives and different lenses, whether you are grinding in a serious sprint season with your business, you need to have the awareness to check in and see how you're doing, how much more gas you have left into the tank, and identify where the boundaries are. So how long, where is the end zone? How much longer do you need to push for? And then also when you're finished with that sprint season, being aware that it is time to shift into a slower season where you can kind of recharge some of your energy and then set up and prepare for the next sprint season that you've got going on.
Thanks so much, Rob. I'm going to go back to Rhonda. We've fixed the scene here. Rhonda, thank you so much. You're an accomplished author, an entrepreneur dedicated to authentic living, emotional intelligence, and integrating feminine and masculine energies. Rhonda, your journey to writing, entrepreneurship, and deep research into emotional intelligence inspires so many. How does embracing authenticity help individuals align with their deepest purpose and vision? We might want to unmute you.
So I'd like to build on Rob's, and that is, self-awareness is the center of even emotional intelligence. You've got
Yeah.
your thoughts, you've got your values, and you've got your own views that are built from a history that you've created. It could be your own genetic history. It's been something that's, biologically and psychologically part of your makeup from your family's background. I'll give you an example. If your family had tuberculosis when you were a kid, when they were in future generations, your body picks those DNA cells and genetic cells up, and you may not get tuberculosis because we've
Yeah.
almost ratified it in the United States, but you end up maybe with weaker lungs. So you have to know not only your physical, but you have to know your thoughts, your values, and your views to know how to navigate emotions in this world. They have found that your EQ, which is the equivalent of the IQ, but it's the right brain,
Yeah.
is more important than the IQ in
It is.
one's success. And the reason is because if you can't maintain and control emotions, you can't maintain behaviors. We see it in
Amen.
society every day.
All the
Someone
time.
gets
Oh my God.
emotional, and then you have an explosion of some sort, and then you have bad behaviors. So if you put all of those together and you don't learn the awareness of your thoughts, your values, and your views, and
Yeah.
where they came from, you can't navigate the world in a way that makes everybody shine.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Rhonda, for sharing. Absolutely, absolutely true how important it is to manage and regulate our emotions. Now, talking about emotions, we've got Peter from high performance coaching to skydiving and fireworks. Our next guest, diverse businesses embody resilience and vibrant passion. I mean, we're talking about emotion. That's where passion comes from. Peter, thank you so much. You turn your life around, marked by profound challenges, into powerful opportunities, transforming businesses. You know, what role has resilience played in shaping your vision and your approach to helping others through your coaching practice?
I mean, I could make this very easy and say awareness, but I don't want to. I don't want to go on and tag on Rhonda's and Rob's thing. I mean, I think that is a theme right now,
Yeah.
which is the truth. The truth is that if you boiled everybody down, all the personal development coaches and everything, it just boils all down to one thing, and it literally is awareness, self-awareness. In that resilience for me means never giving up. Like there's never an opportunity that if something. Every opportunity in life is a learning experience. It's never a failure. So everything that I've always been through with business or with skydiving especially, or is one of the things that I failed 15 years at. I had a target to be a national champion in 10 years and I never reached that target. And the resilience was just never giving up. It actually took me 15 years to reach that target. So for me, it's just never giving up. Getting knocked down, standing back up, keep going at it. Doesn't matter what it is. Try something different. If it's not working, try something different. If it's not working, keep trying something different. It's just consistently like that. It doesn't really matter. And that to me is a pure human being that is resilient to anything.
Man, that's so true.
Also,
and that's so true and very
the
powerful.
phone is just starting to ring as well. So this podcast, we're doing great on this today.
Yeah, we've been resilient through door knocks and whatnot we had in the green room. Speaking of resilience, few embody it like our next guest, Lyubim Kogan. Now, Lyubim is a Winter Olympian, World Trade Center survivor, and the founder of wingsforheroes.org, helping amputee veterans find renewed purpose through flight. Lyubim, how has your personal experience of navigating crises shaped your vision and approach to leadership and purposeful branding?
It's a really interesting question,
Yeah.
I think I understand the consequences of making mistakes and making errors when you have thousands of families that are dependent on you. And in case when you're dealing with people who came back from defending their countries and they left part of their bodies there, we're talking about lives. So I think my EQ is off the scale. And I think all the life experiences that you mentioned, they're just getting me and all of us for the next step and the next task that we'll have in life. But I'm clearly aware of the consequences of my actions, not just today, tomorrow, but for many generations to come. So I'm really careful when I say certain things, and I am really aware how sensitive people are and how one word can change life for good and also in some cases for the worse. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. And it takes a lot of emotion, control, and resilience to, come up front, especially going through so many different world experiences or even crises. We've experienced so many crises over the years, and in fact, we are in June 12th, 2025, and we see what's happening in the streets in LA right now, which is kind of insane. Like, wow, right? But pulling all of that back, it all comes down to our intensity. So let's bring everybody on stage, guys. This has been, a really powerful introduction to where you're all coming from and the amazing resilience and I'm like all over the place right now. I'm feeling the pressure, right? I'm feeling the pressure because we didn't really get started the way I wanted to get started, but we are here. We are having this conversation. I'm gonna quickly check in. If there's something that inspires you, that's something that's pulling you back, what it is that keeps you going on a day-to-day basis.
I'll kind of
Eh,
kick things off,
yeah,
if
thanks,
I
Rob.
may. I think for me, what really allows or what really motivates and drives me forward to continue to show up as the best version of myself is first and foremost my values. Really identifying what kind of keeps me going and what's unique to me. And I heard a lot about values in my early stages of entrepreneurship, and you hear about successful businesses clearly defining those. And it took me a long time because I'm like, yeah, a lot of the basic trustworthiness and honesty, all those things are great. But until I really honed in and really identified what my personal core values were, it was difficult for me to really lean into my authenticity. And once I have that now, that really aligns with the different actions and motivations for the different projects that I'm having. And as long as they are aligned with mine, for example, mine are progress towards mastery, adventure seeking, contribute often, and then embodying freedom. So as long as I'm getting better at something and I'm having fun doing it and others are benefiting from it as well,
Yeah.
and I'm actively choosing to do this, then I know that it's aligned with what I want to be doing.
No, that's really powerful. Peter or Rhonda or Lyubim,
Yeah,
you want to
I
chime
can
in?
go. I can go next, and I'm the Rhonda in the group. And I think the interesting thing about this conversation is, many times of us, we have storytelling from our families or whatever that says, this is how we accomplish A, or this is how we get to B. But we don't break it down to our children or to even ourselves until maybe later in life. What is resilience? What is the pillars that create strength? We can say emotional strength, but what about your psychological strength or your physical? So you kind of have to break it down into pillars, for me at least. And we talked about the self-awareness, but what is your purpose? What is your innate ability to do something that has meaning? And when you can describe that, which was just mentioned, being able to define your authentic values, your authentic self, then you're less likely to be a leader, such as an Enron leader that got pulled into the section of being unethical. But then you have to say, well, what about me? Because if you put all that energy into an organization or a purpose or a mission, then where is the self-care? Self-care
Yeah.
is not just the physical, but it's the mental and emotional. But then you also have to support it with relationships that have an authentic meaning within themselves to support you in both in a positive way, not the negative self-talk that pulls you back, takes away your shine and your gem. And then lastly, in that self-care and in those moments while you're going through those pillars, where's your mindfulness for self and others? Where you talked about LA. How do we mindfully realize that, what we all have experienced in our families at some point? I found my naturalization parents, for our grandparents, documentation from 1917. It took them till 1945 to get
Yeah.
their naturalization. So what conversation should we have that keeps peace within our communities,
Yeah.
within ourselves? We could drive ourselves crazy with the
Yes.
anger of the world. So, it improves our health physically, mentally, emotionally, and makes our relationships and our connections better and gives us more gratification in our lives if we practice and build on those 5 pillars of resilience.
You're 100% right. We need to practice. We need to have people around us that's helping or encouraging and supporting us, right? That's why the power of community, it helps you to grow, it helps you to keep that mindset locked in and continue to grow as well.
Exactly. And it requires us to be reflective, not only on our own lives, but on our own views and
Amen.
values, like has been said so many times in this podcast already.
Yeah. Peter, we wanted to say something?
I was going to ask Rhonda as well on this. I'm just going to bring a conversation between multiple people. So what is it that actually gets you up in the morning? What is it that gives you the drive to continue getting up in the morning, Rhonda?
I would say that for me personally, it's the personal pride in my day. I try to find every moment in my day, even if it's, staying in my home office and I know that I have multiple deadlines and it's going to be a stressful day. I've tried to build in moments that that bring peace, harmony, happiness. And it could be opening up a blind and looking out and seeing wildlife. It could be taking a 5-minute break and going outside, or even, believe it or not, food prep. Many people think of that as a chore. Well, I've tried to shift that mindset to thinking, as I'm cleaning those fruits and those vegetables, to a mindful meditation of what those fruits and vegetables are going to provide my body when I get to eat them. Because I found I was spending more money buying up the already chopped up stuff. I was missing part of the fun, which was the prepping of something that's going to be beneficial to me and my family. And so for me, it's making the mind shift, making a decision. I've had what some people would call a very privileged and life, and then other people would say it was fairly dramatic and traumatic life. I've lost both parents at this point in time in my life. I lost a son to gun violence in the United States. Working when someone came in and shot him at work. I've had several, but that's life.
Yeah.
And the resilience comes from the storytelling that you tell your children, I tell my children, we tell the younger generation. How do you pick up, stand up, and thrive even in those trials? And Walt Disney does it pretty good, because if you look at Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, when they're searching for the purpose, there's a song, put one foot in front of the other, then you'll be walking out out the door. Well, that's what we all have to do during trials.
I love that. Thank you so much, guys. This
Beautiful.
was very beautiful. I've got quick rapid fire responses before we sign off of this live stream. Lyubim, what's the most vital skill in crisis navigation that we can impart?
I would say it's self-confidence. Because you have to make a lot of decisions and you have to move. You do have to take that next step. It was a beautiful introduction with the Christmas song, but the reality is that when you're functioning in crisis and a lot of other people depend on you, you don't have the luxury to test, to pause, to rest, to reflect. You just have to get going, and basically you need to have the belief in yourself that you can make the next best available decision. And regardless of what is on the line, you can make the best choice and you can get things done on time and the best available way. So self-confidence.
Self-confidence. I love it.
Good one.
Rob, how about what's the essential high-performance habit that we can all develop?
I think, to kind of carry on with our conversation here, with building the resilience, I think, to me personally, I believe resilience is the capacity to withstand. And I think that if you find yourself who's emotionally, physically, or mentally lacking or unstable, I think an easy way to kind of start to begin that journey of building resilience is through small challenges. Small discomfort leads to bigger discomfort, and the bigger your comfort zone is, the more confident you are in yourself and your decision making. So then you can carry out and become more competent as an individual, where people can rely on you. And if you're somebody who is new to the game, easy ways to kind of introduce is things like cold showers, changing up your diet, maybe getting up early after a night out with your wife, and trying just little things where it makes you feel uncomfortable, but you can feel you're able to still carry through and execute on the action.
Rob, you set up for Peter Peter, what's the key to maintaining that resilience daily?
Creating amazing habits, routines, rituals, and habits. You know, for me, physiology is the key to all walks of life at the beginning. Like, we can feel tired, like Rob was saying, go out late with our wives or our loved ones and getting up in the morning. And I think it's just about, if you shift your physiology, you can create energy. So for me, it's all about good routines, good rituals and habits. This morning, prime example, I was super tired and I still did a 40-minute burpees workout. It absolutely ruined me. Don't get me wrong. I was like 35 minutes in going, what am I doing?
Oh my God.
And then I was like, we don't quit. We just don't quit. And again, that's just creating a good routine, good, rituals and good habits. And then personally, again, going to bed early as well, going and getting that sleep. I quickly did a seminar yesterday on time and how much time we have in our lives. And there's only two values to time.
Yeah.
And we're either wasting it or we're investing it.
Amen. You're absolutely right. The time is something that we don't really value as much till we're older, till we realize how much quickly it's fleeting and how little we can it's not coming back. This moment that we've spent here, it's not coming back. So either investing or we're wasting. Beautiful. And one last question for Rhonda here. What's the one practice for authentic living?
I would say first identify who yourself is. So many times we live a story that's not authentic to us. It's what society tells us we're supposed to believe. It's what our parents said we're supposed to be. It's what our spouses, expect of us. And so we never go back and say, who am I? What makes me happy? What makes me true to me? An example would be even something like buying a house. Everybody has an opinion on what kind of home you should have. Yeah. Someone might say you need a big home. Someone says you need a small home, easy to maintain. Others may say, you don't need the responsibility of a home, rent, and make someone else. So everybody has an opinion on who you should be. But who are you? I would venture to say anybody out there that's listening should think to themselves today, what have I done, even for a moment or a slight moment? What happened to me today? What brings me closer to me today? What actions have I done to bring enjoyment? Is it the skyline that you spent 50 seconds longer on because it was beautiful? Is it the ocean? What have you done for you? Is it the fixing of your own food? Because when you can identify who you are, then you can brainstorm solutions to your own problems and ask for authentic and know when to disregard things, and select the best solutions for you. And then you can implement a plan for you. But without knowing who you are and what makes you special, because we all are special, there is no way to move through that model.
Absolutely. Well, Rhonda, thank you so much, guys. This has been really powerful. I appreciate and very thankful to each one of you for taking the time to coming on this live stream. For the very first time, this is the first time we've met and we got to have this conversation about resilience, conversation about building good habits, conversations about having confidence and being present in where we are. So thank you so much for taking the time. I am so excited looking forward to going deeper in each one of your journeys in our regular full form podcast episodes that I do. I do the intro. I do actually 2 separate episodes with each of the guests. So the first episode is going to be focusing on how you got to where you are today, and the second is going to be all tactical. How can people work with you, and what do they get out of it? And so they're getting the full taste of who you are from the life stories perspective, and then going even deeper into the depths of our minds, into what it really takes to get to where we are today. With Hacks and Hobbies, we're talking about passion to profit stories, and each one of us has that passion to build to where we are today. So thank you so much again for coming on, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you later. Peace out.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you all. So stay on the line for a minute. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here. And like I said, we've got 2 to 3 podcast episodes dropping every single week. Check to see, make sure you're following, make sure you subscribe so that you can follow and listen to those new episodes. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much.
Beautiful.